This is the Self-Storage Radio Show, and my name is Nat Mecken. This podcast is all about the fabulous asset class that is self-storage. G'day, welcome to the Self-Storage Radio Show. Now, this podcast here I'm going to do about my YouTube playlists. So those of you who listened to the last episode was the podcast playlist. And that was all the self-storage podcasts that I listened to. And then this is sort of basically a follow-up, I suppose, because like those ones I listen to in audio only, so I listen to them like, you know, whenever I'm on the go and that sort of thing. Whereas if I've got a chance to sit down and watch some YouTube, then that's when I actually watch these ones in today's list. So I guess I probably should apologize for last episode's quality of the audio. It was it was one thing after another with the audio. We're still learning how to get the settings right and whatnot here on these platforms that we use and that sort of thing. It's been very much a learning curve. But anyway, we should be able to get those problems ironed out in the future. So just to start off, I guess loosely I listen to, or I watch rather, these YouTubes in the order that I've got them in from most to least. And I say loosely because it's sort of not set in stone. I guess I do try to watch. I do try to watch as much of these as possible, like all of these in the list. So I pretty much watch them all the same amount, I guess, really. So number one on the list is called Storage Nerds by Stacey Rossetti. And Stacey and her husband, they're American, and they've got, last I knew they had 16 facilities, and Stacey sort of runs like a coaching group and that sort of thing. And so a lot of the content on the YouTube is just like clips out of the coaching and that sort of thing. But there is some on-site stuff and that as well. And I find, like, you know, when I first come across Stacey's content, I sort of just binge consumed it for quite some time, because it was sort of I guess where I was in my self-storage journey. It sort of resonated with me, I guess, because there was so much nuggets in there about finding facilities and Stacey's catch cry sort of thing is, what is it? Find them, fund them, run them. And I think she's actually put out a book of the same name, which I haven't got my hands on yet. So, so Storage Nerds by Stacey Rossetti. She used to have a podcast as well that I used to regularly listen to, but she doesn't sort of put so much on there anymore. So hence why I watch the YouTube version now, of Stacey's content. So number two on the list is, he's just simply called Alex Crusader, which is his name, and also an American. Alex has some really good content, and I've sort of said all, like, the whole way through, that I think that he's sort of, it's, like, what would you say? Like, you nearly feel like you should be paying for the content. It's that good, what he gives out for free on YouTube. And, it's just like, for what he films himself doing, like talking to customers, getting deals over the line. He'll film himself doing that. He'll film himself doing a walk around on a facility that he's about to buy. He'll film himself doing walk arounds on facilities that he already has, and how he overlocks units and all these sorts of things is just, I just have found him to be a wealth of knowledge, and incredible that he gives it all away for free. Is just, it's really it's really something. It's been really, a really big thing for me to be able to see all that and learn so much about how he does things and that. So that's number 2, Alex Quezada. Number 3 is Mr. Self-Storage by Dean Booty. Now, Dean Booty also has the podcast that I mentioned in the last episode of Hacking Self-Storage. But he sort of seems to call his podcast Hacking Self-Storage and his YouTube channel Mr. Self-Storage. So he does, it's the same, he's the same fella, but I do watch him on YouTube as well, just because he's got a lot of nuggets in there that I find useful, and he's in the UK, so it sort of gives you a bit wider, a bit wider information base, I suppose, because everything else you sort of watch is American. So, pretty much, what I watch is American. So it is good to get that sort of, a bit more across the world, knowledge if you can, is sort of what I believe. Now, number 4 is Self-Storage Income by AJ Osborne, and he also has the podcast that I mentioned in the last episode and of the same name. So I'll watch him on YouTube, and then I also watch, or rather I listen to his podcast. Sometimes when he gets like fairly deep on a podcast and I think, okay, I really need to see what he's talking about here, so I'll just pause the podcast, and then that night or whatever, when I've got the next opportunity, I'll jump on YouTube and I'll sit down and watch that episode visually, just so I can see, if he's showing graphs and that sort of thing. He's also a wealth of knowledge, because he's such a big player now, and only came from very, very small beginnings. Like, he just sort of started buying small facilities, and now he's just got like untold amounts of facilities and such a massive company that he's got. So I do watch him. Number 5 is called Hans German Realty. So Hans, I don't know his last name. So as the name suggests, he's German. Hans, I don't know his last name, and I probably wouldn't be able to say it anyway, being German. I probably shouldn't say that, because my last name's German anyway. It's Micken is German. I think I'm not sure whether I'm 4th or 5th generation German. So I probably shouldn't make those German jokes. But anyway, Hans German Realty. Now he speaks like pretty good English, and he's actually quite good to watch with his amount of knowledge in the German space. Now he's got like all kinds of different real estate investments there in Germany. He does a lot of residential and that kind of thing, and a bit of commercial and that, but he does have self-storage as part of his portfolio. And so I always make a point of watching his self-storage videos, just to get that sort of that, like I said about the English version, like I try to sort of get myself across the industry, the self-storage industry, as across much of the world as possible, just because it makes us all better, investors and operators of self-storage, if we sort of know what the rest of the world is doing and how they're doing it. And you can learn from everybody, I believe, no matter where it is in the world. You can pick up nuggets of information. One thing about Hans is his facilities, his storage facilities are all container facilities, and because mine are also container facilities, then that's why it sort of resonates so much with me. So that's 5. I've only kept this podcast short simply because, I should say that these are the main podcasts that I listen to. Now I am YouTube's rather that I watch. I do have a few more that I have started watching recently, like in the last sort of couple of months, and I haven't included them in this list simply because I can't actually say whether I'm going to keep watching them or I'm just going to discard them, kind of thing, because I'm always looking for more content and just trying to find somebody who I resonate with. So like I say, there is a couple more that I am watching, but I haven't put them in this list simply because I don't know whether I'm going to keep watching them or not. But I thought this is probably a good starting point just to sort of give out these 5, and then I can always update it in the future. When I sort of settle on a few more that I've kept watching over time, then I'll share them into the future. So I thought I'd just start with these 5, and and just sort of let people know where I get my information. That's what this list is all about, and the previous list, because like I said, I've tried a lot of different podcasts and YouTubes in the past, and some that I've discarded, and some that I've really clicked with, and keep consuming the content up until this point. So no worries, I'll sign off on this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.